Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today in this video we will be discussing about section 4 of the Companies Act 2013, which relates to the Memorandum of Association of a company. As we know that while incorporating a company we have to file an application in form INC 32, and along with such prescribed form we have to file this Memorandum of Company also. Now what is this Memorandum of Association of the company? So it is mandatory for every company to have a Memorandum of Association of their own. This memorandum makes up the constitutional framework of the company and it establishes the relation of the company with the outside world. This was all a basic brief about the Memorandum of Association. Now let us look at section 4 and understand what it says about the memorandum. So subsection 1 says that the memorandum of a company shall state the name of the company, the state in which the registered office of the company is to be situated, the objects of the company, the liability of the members, capital structure of the company, and the name of the nominee. So basically, section 4, subsection 1 lays down six clauses: the name clause, situation clause, object clause, liability clause, the capital clause, and the nomination clause. So in the memorandum of the company, we have to write down the name of the company with the last word limited in the case of public limited company, or the last words private limited in the case of a private limited company. If our proposed company is a private company, then we will use the words private limited, whereas if our proposed company is a public company, then only we will use the words limited, provided that nothing in this clause shall apply to a company registered under Section 8. So all the Section 8 companies whose objects are not to earn any profits, who are the non-profit organizations, are not required to use any words private limited or limited in their end. We will study this again in the Section 8. Now next clause is situation clause. Situation clause talks about the state in which the registered office of the company is to be situated. As we know that every company has its own registered office, and in the memorandum of that company we have to write down that in which state that registered office of the company is situated. Now third clause is the object clause. Under the object clause we have to mention that for which purposes the company is proposed to be incorporated, that what are the all operations that the company will be carrying out, and what will be the ancillary activities necessary to carry out the main activities. The fourth clause we have is of the liability clause. Under the liability clause, first of all, we have to mention that whether the liability is unlimited or whether the liability is limited. And if the liability is limited, whether the liability is limited by shares or whether the liability is limited by guarantee. So if in the case of a company limited by shares, the liability of members will only be up to the extent of the amount unpaid on the shares held by them. So suppose if a face value of a share of a company is 10 and the member has only paid rupees 8 up to the current date, now he will be liable for only rupees 2 on that share, and further he will not be liable for any debts incurred by the company. And in the case of a company limited by guarantee, the amount up to which each member undertakes to contribute to the assets of the company or to the cost, charge, and expenses of winding up of that company. So, in the process of winding up of a company, first of all the assets of the company are sold and liabilities are paid off according to their nature. Now, if in case the assets of the company are insufficient to pay off all the liabilities, and the members have guaranteed that they will contribute to the assets of the company in the event of its being wound up, that if there is any shortage, then the members have guaranteed that they will cover up the shortage of the winding up process, and also they have agreed to the payment of the cost, charge, expenses of the winding up process which will be incurred to the company. So this was the liability clause, in which we have to first see whether the liability is limited or whether the liability is unlimited. Then if the liability is limited, then we will check whether the liability is limited by shares or whether the liability is limited by guarantee. Now our next clause is capital clause. In the case of a company having a share capital, the amount of share capital with which the company is to be registered and the division thereof into shares of fixed amount and the number of shares each subscriber to the memorandum intends to take indicated about its name. So basically it is saying that if there is share capital in the company, then under the capital clause we have to mention the total amount of the share capital and how that total share capital is divided among all the members. That what is the denomination of each share and how many shares are there in the company. For example, if the total share capital of the company is rupees 1 lakh, then we have to mention that how this 1 lakh is divided in the members of the company. So it may be divided as 10,000 shares of 10 rupees each, or it may be 20,000 share at 5 rupees each. So this we have to mention under the capital clause, that what is the total share capital and how it is further divided thereof in the number of shares and the fixed amount, that is the denomination of each share. And also we have to mention all the names of the subscriber and the number of shares they are taking. The last clause in the subsection 1 is the nomination clause. So the nomination clause is present only in the one person company. As we know that on the death of the member, the person who was nominated as a nominee will become the new member of that OPC. So in the case of one person company, in the memorandum of that one person company, we have to mention the name of the nominee who will become the member on the death of the previous member. So that was all about all the six clauses of the memorandum of the company. Now in the subsection 1, we got to know about the contents of the memorandum of the company. And in the further subsections, we will get to know about the name of a company, that how a company's name should be, and how we can reserve the name for a proposed company, and what will be the implications on false furnishment of information. So it is a separate concept, and we can divide the section 4 in two parts. That is, in the first part we got to know about the contents, and in the second part we'll be getting to know about the name and the reservation of name of the company. So in the next part we'll be completing our section 4 of the Companies Act 2013, and that was it for today.